What is going on, everybody? It is I, the franchise here. I know it's been 2 weeks. It's been some time since I've done Wrestle Talk. I do apologize. It's the summertime. I had some family events that was taking place that I had to attend to. That was last week's incident. The week before, I once again, came across doing an episode and it wasn't really the best quality, the best that I could have done. And as I told you before, I don't want to give you half-assed stuff. I don't want to sit there and give you shit that is like, oh, I just here. No, I want to put in the time and make sure that I give you guys the best that I can provide for you. I have a new format. I have a new template that I'm doing as far as preparing for the show. So I do have my notes, but my notes is in a different format. So now I can really dive into really breaking down the things that we're going to be talking about. And there's no better way to return than on the go home week to the biggest night of the summer. SummerSlam is this Saturday, which is also the ace that runs the place. It's his birthday on Saturday. So happy early birthday to my brother from another, my Oos. Make sure that if you are watching this, you are giving him his birthday love. You can hit him up on his Instagram. You can leave a comment in there wishing him a happy birthday. RCW_Ace to do that for him. But like I said, what better way to return than on the Go Home show, the Go Home week to the biggest night of the summer, where we are anticipating the biggest return of the year with the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. We've all been anticipating that he will be returning at SummerSlam. I thought maybe we would have got him at Money in the Bank, which would have led to him versus Solo at SummerSlam. But there is no better fitting. There is no better place than to have him return to SummerSlam 4 years later after he returned last SummerSlam, the SummerSlam in 2020, when he returned with the whole new gimmick, with the whole new character, with really himself. Very fitting that we are getting that, ironically, 4 years after. But let's not waste any more time. There's other things I'm going to be talking about as well this episode as well. I'm going to be diving into, if you follow us on Instagram, RCW_podcast, I did speak about Rikishi's recent comments about his son, Jey Uso, and his concerns that he has, and I'm going to address that on this episode as well. We're also going to be diving into AEW, not really going to be kicking their backs in. I'm going to actually have some good things to say about AEW with their All In card. Not really much some of the stuff that they've been doing recently, especially Blood and Guts, with the chair shot heard around the world, and why it is hard to be a wrestling fan when you have the one section of AEW fans that just love to just make it just, but I'm not going to do that right now. Right now, it's all about SummerSlam. This part of the show is going to be pretty much my predictions for the card. We do have 7 matches lined up for this pay-per-view. Normally I don't really give my predictions. That is more so if you are following us on Instagram, I normally have those predictions on Instagram in the story and in the feed as well. But because I have not done an episode in 2 weeks. Might as well give y'all my predictions this week. Give y'all my predictions. Then after, you will obviously get the post show, and we will have so much to talk about there. But let's dive right into SummerSlam in Cleveland. I wish I was there. I was supposed to set something up for me to go, but hotel, rental, tickets, all that, it kind of adds up. And, you know, I could have, but then I would have been having to make some adjustments to things. But I am looking forward to it. I know that they did just go on sale last Friday, tickets for SmackDown, which is going to be in Buffalo, November 8th. I'm looking to do that. I'm also, like I said, if there was one pay-per-view that I would love to go to, obviously it is the biggest pay-per-view of the year, which is WrestleMania. And I would love to go to WrestleMania in Vegas for various reasons, but because we all know that it may lead up to Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 41. And that is going to be special if they do move forward and we do get everything that we've been talking about on this show, and other shows have talked about it as well. Other websites, other people have talked about it. Even wrestling fans in general have talked about WrestleMania 41 being the culmination of arguably the greatest story in all of professional wrestling, in all of sports entertainment. This bloodline storyline is going to go down in the books as the biggest of all time. Like I said before, they're going to do master classes. If you want to know how to tell incredible storylines, go back and just watch this play itself out. I know some people have said, you know, oh my God, like the story is so, it's dragging. What more can be done? The layers that they're telling in this story, even the small little details with this story, is very telling. And I'm going to get to the small little details when we get to Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, which is going to be the main event at SummerSlam. But as we used to do prediction shows, we used to go from our least interested to the one that we are very much invested in. And that's how we're going to do with this episode right here. So let's dive into the first match, which is the Women's Championship on SmackDown. We have Bayley defending her women's title against the Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax. Now, the only question that I have for this match is Tiffany Stratton going to cash in? That is the number one question in this whole story. Is Tiffany Stratton going to cash in? She has teased the ideal of potentially cashing in. We do know that Friday after she won Money in the Bank, she definitely was like, maybe I should, and started to cash in. Didn't work out. I believe during a house show, I think she might have tried to cash in as well. And Nia, you know what? This is the best run Nia Jax has been on since entering the WWE. I mean, she's in great shape. She's dominating everything she's doing. The question is, that's the question. Is Tiffany Stratton going to cash in? Now, I hate that I always bring up the bloodline almost in most storylines, but Nia Jax, I believe, did mention something about how she wouldn't mind joining this bloodline. I do know that the Tonga sisters, the twins, I believe are signed to the WWE now. I believe they are with the. They have signed. I've seen some photos of them in the Performance Center. So they may be making their debut soon. So if we do get that, could we possibly see Nia align herself with the OG bloodline, like Roman in them, or is she going to go with the new bloodline and kind of be with them? It kind of is a toss-up. Obviously, we do know that Tamina's contract is coming up, and it doesn't look like she's resigning. Would suck, but the way TKO is, if they don't have any role for you, they're not going to keep you around. It's just that simple. They're not going to have you just sitting and catering, doing nothing. If you notice, everyone that is on television, they are involved in a storyline one way or another. But this title run for Bayley hasn't been what a lot of people may have wanted. It's the same way with Cody Rhodes, where people are like, this title run is not what we expected. I do see Nia Jax winning, but I feel like Tiffany may try to get involved and make it a triple threat, and Tiffany wins. If Tiffany tries to cash in during the match and make it a triple threat, Tiffany Stratton will win. But if it's just straight one-on-one, I can see Nia Jax winning. I don't see a place where Bayley wins. I know Bayley is kind of on this, you put me out, you took away my SummerSlam opportunity some years ago, you're reckless, all this stuff. But I just feel like Nia Jax needs to win this match. So I'm going with Nia Jax. I'm going with the queen herself to prevail and become our new WWE Women's Champion. Next up, we have the Intercontinental Championship on the line with Sami Zayn defending it against Braun Breaker. This is it. I feel like this is Braun Breaker's moment. I know I said I wanted Braun Breaker to win that Money in the Bank. He didn't, but they made sure that we still knew how dominant of a force Braun Breaker was, even in a losing fashion. Even the Monday after Money in the Bank, he made his intention very clear. This is what he was going to do. This is how he was going to just dominate. I know maybe there might have been talks of a triple threat with Dragunov being involved, but I also have a question, and I might be the only one that's thinking this. Would we get a surprise if Braun Breaker was to lose? Would it be at the expense of a surprise appearance? Now, we don't know Ricochet's contract situation. We don't know if he resigned. We don't know anything. He's kind of been quiet for the most part, hasn't really said anything. They haven't really spoke about Ricochet as much. So it might be a curveball that they throw and Ricochet appears and cost Braun Breaker the Intercontinental title. But I'm leaning with Braun Breaker to win the Intercontinental Championship hands down. Regardless of what happens, Braun Breaker is going to win the Intercontinental title. You started to see early seeds being planted of what potentially Sami Zayn will be doing moving forward after losing the Intercontinental title, which I'll get into later. The United States Championship. The match that we've been anticipating for God knows how long, ever since last year's Money in the Bank. We have been anticipating a Logan Paul versus LA Knight showdown. And we're finally getting it this year at SummerSlam. Now, there's a question that I posed for this match. 2 questions. Is LA Knight going to officially win his very first title on the main roster? If he does not, where does LA Knight go from here? Just think about it. Money in the Bank twice, lost. Involved with the WWE Undisputed Championship twice, lost. The fans can only hold on to the LA Knight, for so long until they get tired and they start to turn on one LA Knight. This is right there. So I believe that LA Knight is going to win. I know that this Friday, they're in Cleveland, obviously. They are doing some celebration for Logan Paul. So I think Logan Paul has a celebration Friday night, kind of gets crashed by LA Knight. And LA Knight does successfully defeat Logan Paul and become our new United States champion. Because I don't think that if he doesn't win, we will start to have questions. You know how I feel about LA Knight. I'm not the biggest LA Knight fan, but if he doesn't win, where does LA Knight go from here? Where? I think this is going to be an incredible match. You already know I am a big fan of Logan Paul in the ring. I think Logan Paul continues to prove to us every time he steps in the ring why he is the United States champion. Like, I won't be surprised. I said this before. I won't be surprised if they put a heavyweight, like the title, on Logan Paul. Maybe not the undisputed title. The world heavyweight title, I can see. But not that undisputed title. I don't see him winning that. But I do see him potentially being a future world champion down the line. He's that good. And he's a draw. We all know when Logan Paul is there, he brings eyes. And think about it. You've seen on his podcast, when he's doing these interviews with these names, he has the United States title there. So they're looking at it from a marketing standpoint, like he has this audience, his hardcore fan base, and fans who are not into wrestling is seeing Logan Paul with his title in either the background, in the front, whatever. And people are going to be like, yo, like, what type? Like, oh, he's, and then they will gravitate to where Logan Paul is going to go. So, yeah, I won't be surprised. But I do have LA Knight emerging as the new United States champion. This match right here, the World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest against Gunther. This match it's grown on me. It has. this match has grown on me. Because before, I wasn't that sold on it. I wasn't. Not at all. But it's grown. And you have the storyline of Gunther being entitled, feeling like he needs to bring prestige to this world title. He is better than Damian Priest. He looks at Priest as he's beneath him. And that's always been Gunther's MO. Like Gunther, even when he was in NXT UK, he always was like the ring, and he says it now, like the ring is sacred. Like that is sacred ground. And he is not up for any of this shit. Like he's like, yo, I'm the best. I'm the ring general. This is what I do. I'm going to work numbers around you, and I'm going to take this title. However, I don't think that's the case. I think Priest is going to retain. I do. There's an event happening later in August. Bash in Berlin. We will get Priest versus Gunther again at Bash at Berlin. And that is when Priest drops the title to Gunther. I really think they're going to have Gunther win it in Berlin for various different reasons, obviously. But I feel like Triple H and the WWE want to, especially Triple H, wants to establish Priest's title reign. Because we all know, we all sat there and said, Priest is a title holder. He's a placement holder. This is just only until Gunther gets into the picture and he takes the title from him first shot. Hell, maybe Jey Uso at one point. Seth Rollins, when Seth Rollins came back, oh, you're definitely dropping the title to Seth. Nah. I think that Triple H is really invested behind Priest and wants Priest to have a legitimate title reign. And his documentary is coming out in the month of August. His 24 will be out in August. I don't think there's a set date, but it will be out in August. So think about it. He has something going on this week. He has something going on this week. And then the documentary comes out. So, and based off of the way the documentary is portrayed, it's telling an incredible story of his. So why would you then have him lose, and then this documentary comes out and it's telling how much people have invested in and people believed in him and all this stuff for him to lose to Gunther? No, they're going to continue that. Gunther is going to feed off of that. In that bash in Berlin, we will get Gunther dethroning Priest. And that's our new that's our new world champion. It's just that simple. So, by hook or crook, no contest, disqualification, whatever you want to refer to, Damian Priest will retain the world heavyweight title. Now, these next three matches are the most intriguing, most invested storylines we have this whole post WrestleMania. These three storylines have been the most anticipated, thought out, like just driven stories. And we start with the Women's World Championship. We start with the Revenge Tour, Liv Morgan's Revenge Tour. And now we have Mommy's Revenge Tour. So we have Liv Morgan defending her world title, her women's world title, against the Eradicator, Rhea Ripley. I have not talked about the return of Rhea Ripley since she has graced us with her presence again. I was very excited to see that Rhea Ripley came back. It is very much the cat and mouse game that we see with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Number one question that everyone has: what will Dirty Dom do? Now, when I was preparing last week's episode before I had to but I had to attend a family event. One of the statements that I had made about the return of Rhea Ripley and why I see one direction in this story moving that way is because if Dom turned on Rhea, it's because if you look at the relationship between Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio, it's always been Rhea has been very much in her masculine energy. She's very masculine. She like manhandles Dom. She's yelling. She's the one who's leading the relationship, right? Liv Morgan, feminine energy. Listen to how she refers to him. Daddy Dom. She submits to Dominic Mysterio. You see, even the small little details of how when she sees Dom, she's walking behind Dom. She's kind of like waiting for Dom to lead. And most men want that. They want a woman who, any woman that's listening to this, do not be offended. Just don't. Want a woman, because when I say this word, it always seems to garner this, oh, I'm not doing that. But you don't understand what it means to submit to your man. It's not saying that you have to do everything that he's telling you to do, but it's more like you are the man. You are the head of the table. You are, like, I don't want to get spiritual, biblical, like my bishop once said, the husband, if you think about the name band, he keeps everything intact. Like, that's what his job is. Liv is submitting to Dom and is letting Dom be like, hey, you are like, this is who you are. Whatever you want, I'll do it. That could be the case. And Dom could turn around and say, yeah, I like that. I like to feel like I'm in charge. That's one way you can go at it. Where if Dom did turn, Dom can say, like, she makes me feel like a man. You was always the dominant one. You was always the one that was controlling this relationship. Now, we all know on Monday, this past Monday, we all seen what happened. Dom did what he did. Dom said that he hated her and he couldn't stand her and all this stuff. And we all seen the photo right here, these photos right here, Liv visibly broken up by it, Rhea licking Dom's face. We've seen that. And we've also seen how the internet fucking went crazy over Liv Morgan's attire, and she had the Daisy Dukes on, and everybody's like, Liv Morgan has ended the PG era because of her attire. But she is showing that side of her that is very seductive, will do what she has to do to get her way. And this leads into Finn Balor. Could Finn be the one who Liv ends up being with at the end? I've been saying for a while, what if this whole thing is a curveball and Liv, is just used Dom to get what she wanted? Because remember, she said, I'm going to take everything that matters the most to you. She took her title. She's going to take her man, but then throw him to the wayside. Because remember when Rhea returned and Liv took off? There was behind the scene footage, and when she sat there and she was behind the curtain, it's as if she knew, got her. I'm done. Mission completed. There's a rift between these two. I've done my job. I see Liv Morgan retaining. The question is, do we get the payoff of Dom turning on her at SummerSlam? Or do we get it possibly where it's a mistake? They have the rematch at Bash in Berlin. Then we get the actual unfolding of Liv and Dom. And then at Bad Blood, we get the trifecta. We get the finale, and Liv actually loses to Rhea Ripley, and she gets her one-upping. Because the one thing that is to be noted is everyone seemed to forget about Rhea Ripley in the Judgment Day, other than Damian Priest. So we all know that we are on the cusp of seeing a massive babyface run from Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. Can we see a situation where Liv gets inserted into the Judgment Day? Because think about it. If it wasn't for Liv Morgan, Finn Balor and JD McDonagh would not be the World Tag Team Champions if it wasn't for Liv Morgan inserting herself and putting in that request for them two to take on Awesome Truth. And she helped them beat Awesome Truth. So now they're looking at it in the sense of, well, look at what she's done for us. Rhea, what have you done for us lately? See how that kind of weighs itself out? So then we can see a situation where we can see Finn even at some point may cost Priest the title at Bash at Berlin, and then we get Priest and Rhea going against Dom and Liv, or Finn and Liv, whichever way it goes. So this story can go in many different directions. But as far as SummerSlam goes, I see Rhea Ripley not walking out of Cleveland with that women's world title. Liv Morgan will retain. Next up, a match that many people are going to be locked in on for various different reasons. One of the biggest reasons is because it is his first televised match since his return, other than the Royal Rumble. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with special guest referee Seth freaking Rollins. Now, This gives off SummerSlam 1997 vibes. If you guys, I've been wrestling fans since then, you know, SummerSlam 97, we had Bret Hart versus The Undertaker for the WWE title with Shawn Michaels serving as special guest referee. Now, this was the start of The Undertaker Shawn Michaels story. This was the start of it. When the announcement happened, I kind of figured there was rumbles of Seth Rollins being a special referee, and leading up to when I was doing my notes for last week's episode, I had stated, and I had in my notes, I had wrote that the way they can tell this angle is the referees don't feel safe because they don't feel safe around Drew McIntyre. So let's bring in a special referee in this case. Now, I didn't like how Adam Pearce introduced Seth as the special referee because it was just random. It wasn't that built up. Like, he was just like, oh, you know, this calls for a special, like, it calls for, there wasn't the sense of him saying how, listen, the referees are concerned, the referees, like, they should have had something where the referees was going to Pierce, like, yo, we don't feel safe with Drew McIntyre. We don't. And if you're going to make this match happen, you got to find somebody else that's going to be able to control this match, because we're not going to do it. This Monday, Seth Rollins is going to lay out his rules for this match. But I want to talk about something that has been hitting the wrestling world, and that's this photo right here. Drew McIntyre posted that photo, and that is Drew McIntyre with the scapegoat himself, Jack Perry. Now, we have been in depths with the AEW CM Punk fallout. And Jack Perry being one of the reasons behind CM Punk leaving. We all know All In, Wembley last year. The real glass comment, and Drew McIntyre quoting the photo with the caption, "Cry Me a River." Now, this is testing heavy waters. It is testing heavy waters. As a fan, I feel though as if I know this is what they wanted to do. I think CM Punk is all for doing this, because it does leave us fans wondering how, like, we seen what happened with Hangman and CM Punk. Hangman went into business for himself and made those comments that he said, and that's what started the trickle effect between CM Punk, and we all know what all happened after that. This, to the fans who is watching with a fucking microscope, is looking at this with fine eyes and is waiting to see, is CM Punk going to lose it when these two face off this today? Because this will be posted on Monday. Is that going to happen? Is CM Punk going to go AWOL? Is CM Punk going to go rogue and risk it? is this WWE testing CM Punk to see, let's see how you talk. You have been on record. He was just at Comic-Con praising Zoe Stark, was sitting there praising CM Punk. CM Punk was praising the fact if this regime and the way the locker room is right now was back in 2014, I'd have never left. He is saying all the right things. But now you have this man, Drew McIntyre, as the ultimate troll, hanging the carrot, the bait in front of CM Punk with that photo, with that particular photo. Because we all know that is that could possibly be a trigger. That's similar to how they may bring up Colt Cabana. And we all know when you say Colt Cabana to CM Punk loses his mind. Could this be that? Could they be testing him? Or could CM Punk be like, yeah, I knew about this all along. Let's go this way. Because the one thing that I will say, these three kind of give off the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, however you want to repackage it, it gives off those stories. If you think about it, CM Punk's a big Bret Hart fan. And we can see that they are kind of towing that line of reality and script. This story is going to lead to the bigger story, which is Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Now, who do I have winning this match? I have Drew McIntyre winning. I was about to say CM Punk. I have Drew McIntyre winning. I have CM Punk winning the war, because they will have another match, and it all will culminate at Bad Blood. It's all going to culminate at Bad Blood. The last three matches that I'm talking about, stories will conclude at Bad Blood. It will. Drew McIntyre will win the first one. He will win the first battle. But CM Punk will win the war. And then we lead into CM Punk and Seth Rollins. But everyone's going to be paying close attention to CM Punk because, one, he's like sugar glass. He can break at any minute. Can he withstand? Can he hang? That's going to be the number one question. I'm hoping so. And just on a side note, I did receive both my CM Punk shirts. So I will be in the near foreseeable future wearing both my CM Punk shirts on this year's show. So it's time for the main event. The most anticipated, and I say this because we all know everybody cares about what's going to happen at the conclusion of this match. The undisputed WWE Championship on the line. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, going against I can't refer to him as it. I cannot refer to him as the tribal chief because he is not, as Paul Heyman said, you are not my tribal chief. Solo Sikoa is not my tribal chief. He is not the head of the table. But in this world that he lives in, he is the head of the table. But he is not my tribal chief. These past few weeks, we've been seeing Solo Sikoa with these promos that he's cutting in his room, and you see Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and Tungaloa in the background. I was stating earlier the small details that we see with the bloodline, with Solo Sikoa. Have you looked really closely at the Ulufala? See, the Ulufala represents royalty, prestige. It's that symbol for being the tribal chief. If you ever really paid attention when Roman Reigns had the Ulufala, it was kept up. Very beautiful. It didn't look worn out. It didn't look like it didn't look beaten up. Solo Sikoa's Ulufala is beaten. It's not held to that prestige. It doesn't look pretty. Just gonna be honest. It doesn't look pretty. It's not precious. It's not held up in that prestige of being the symbol of greatness. I mean, just look at every time he's talking, he's holding it. He's not he's not representing it with the stature, which always makes me feel like he is portraying himself to be the head of the table, the tribal chief. But I don't think that, remember, because he always used to say he was getting the word from the tribal chief. And I've always said that tribal chief he's referring to is the final boss. That's who I think he's referring to. I think he gets word from the final boss. Now, Cody Rhodes is running solo. He's no pun intended. Has no backing. There is no Randy Orton. They took Randy Orton out. There is no Kevin Owens. They took him out. So Cody Rhodes is entering this match with no backup. So he thinks. We all heard the promo last Friday. Solo said, if Roman Reigns has a problem with it, he knows where to find me. That is the telling sign that Roman Reigns will indeed be in Cleveland. Now, how do you bring Roman Reigns back? That's the question. And I'm here to give you my thoughts on how you probably can bring him back, because it's not just going to be Roman Reigns coming back. No. The wise man will be back. We may see Jey Uso return. I can see a scenario where Paul Heyman emerges first. He comes out. Cost Solo Sikoa the match. Does something to cost him this match. And then you have Jacob Fatu, Tungaloa. They all start to swarm in, and Solo's with them. They all start to swarm in. Cody tries to help him out because Cody's like, you know what? Despite this, that man knew my father. That man respects me. I respect him. I'm going to go after him. I'm going to save him. Take him out. Then that's when you get the return of Roman Reigns. You get the return of Roman Reigns after the return of Paul Heyman. Now, where does Jey Uso come into play? Could Jey Uso return on Friday? I say that because Friday night on SmackDown, the Go Home show, we will be having Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga going up against DIY for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Could Jey Uso appear to screw them over? Or Does he return on Saturday with Roman? But we get Jacob and Tama Tonga winning those tag team titles to then build up to Jimmy and Jey Uso reuniting and taking those tag team titles from Jacob and Tama Tonga. We also know that on SmackDown, we will be having the women's tag team title matches on the women's tag team titles will be online, as well as Alba Fire and Isla Dawn going up against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I can see Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler interfering in this match because they did kind of make reference to they were going to get those tag team titles. So I could see a situation where we may get another triple threat match between these three tag teams, and maybe Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark win those tag team titles. Because you're not going to build up a tag team, a faction like they're doing right now with those three, and they seem to be they seem to have some investment in them, and they don't prevail. So that's the SmackDown Go Home show. Those are the only two tag team matches that are advertised right now for that. We also know that there is going to be the showdown, the face-off between Solo and Cody Rhodes. But I feel, though, as if Jimmy may return on Saturday. I don't see him returning on Friday because then everybody is going to be clamoring for Roman. Like, it feels like the show might be hijacked because everybody just is waiting for Roman to return. So I don't see Jimmy returning on Friday. I did see something where someone said that maybe Jimmy is the rogue Uso, where he's out on his own. That'll be an interesting take, because you build up to the reuniting of the original bloodline. If you have it where Solo, or you have it where Roman comes back, but now Roman's trying to get Jimmy to come side with him, and Jimmy's like, nah, because you did foul by me. And then he's trying to get Jey, and Jay's like, nah, Us, like, this on you, like, you created this monster, like, you created Solo, you got to deal with this. And it could be one of those things, and then it culminates to the return of the original bloodline, and we get the original bloodline with possibly, can we see, because, if we have Solo, Jacob, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and the final boss going against, or you could do it with Hukulei, the one that I believe is the newest signee to the WWE. He is one of the sons of Haku. I think it's Hukulei. Have those five, and we don't see the tease of the final boss until like later on, against Roman, Jimmy, Jey, Sammy, because you gotta have the honorary Uso in there, because they've been teasing that. So that's where you can see Jimmy and Jey and Sammy. They tag teamed last Monday. They teased it. They showed it. The fifth one is going to be the tricky one. Do you get Kevin Owens? Does Sami Zayn try to convince Kevin Owens, hey, let's do this? or is it Cody Rhodes? And if it's Cody, that's where you can get Randy to turn on Cody, because Randy's going to still have that vendetta. On top of that, this is the second time Randy Orton was taken out by the bloodline, whether it was the OG bloodline or the new bloodline. That's how you create the Randy Orton turn on Cody Rhodes, and then we get Randy versus Cody in the build-up, and it culminates at Bad Blood. That's how you do it. Or you just get them to go into Bad Blood. That's the first match that they have is at Bad Blood, because it's fitting. Like I said, Bad Blood is going to be very fitting. It's going to be very telling that that's what's going to happen. So that's my predictions for SummerSlam. And since we are on the conversation of the bloodline, let's talk about Rikishi. On a recent episode of his podcast, this is where I say, sometimes not everybody needs, I'm not going to say not everybody needs a podcast. I'm not going to say that. But sometimes family just has to know their role. And in the words of The Rock, and shut their mouth. Because Rikishi expressed his thoughts on his son and what the WWE is doing with one Jey Uso. And this is what he had to say.
I'll tell you one thing, man. I got, hairs on the back of my neck every time I watch it. SummerSlam. Where is he? Let's go. I don't know. Let's write him in that he likes mommy. Mommy? That's the best that those, writers got. Let's write this guy into a relationship with mommy. What y'all trying to do? Break his marriage up? Y'all can't put him in a good storyline, so what you gonna do now? God forbid you guys try to tell him or tell her tongue kiss each other on Raw. That better not happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's so much that, when it comes to the bloodline, man, this is what gets me going. This is why I tell the bloodline, when people talk about the bloodline, we tired of the bloodline. You can be tired all you want for a few years, right? But we've been going through this for 75 plus years, right? You don't think we tired? But we the type of people, we tired, but we keep coming back. We keep finding solutions, not excuses, solutions. And the solutions need to be the best you can be in that squared circle. Otherwise, if we're not over in the squared circle, move us out.
I was just going to say that. Aren't you pretty much telling others to step up, be better than you?
100%. 100%. If you can put asses in seats, if you can knock those merchandise sales out, if you can bring up WWE's revenue, TKO's revenue, if the bloodline is not that anymore, I get it. Y'all. Go ahead and just knock it then. But you cannot knock the bloodline that's been holding professional wrestling company as WWE on their backs for the last 4 to 5, 6 years now. And they still holding it without the main guy there. Who's the main guy? Roman's mother Reigns. Come on. Y'all can write that. Because when he does come back, you better have enough armored trucks to fill up that bank account for WWE. TKO. Have enough, because this man here is just going to sell out everywhere and anywhere throughout the world that WWE puts him to, right? That's not to mention the Usos when they come back. That's not to mention maybe another bloodline member, possibly may be able to drive up in a black Lincoln. I'll leave it at that, damn it.
Okay. A lot to dive into, a lot to kind of break down with what Hall of Famer Rikishi said. Here's my thoughts on what he was saying. Jey Uso, remember, originally the plan was for Cody to finish the story at 39. It was Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman who suggested, let's not do that. Let's have Roman retain, build Cody up for another full year, and then we elevate Jey Uso. Jey Uso goes on his own. We all know Jey Uso, out of Jey and Jimmy, Jey has been the more reliable brother. We all know Jimmy has had troubles in the past, drinking, etc., and not being able to stay healthy. When Rikishi says what he said, you know, he's been on record. He stated how, you know, he's upset that Jey didn't win Money in the Bank. Jey hasn't won this and the third. Well, let me ask a question. If Jey Uso won Money in the Bank, who's he cashing in on? Who's cashing in on? He's not cashing in on Damian Priest. He's not cashing in on Gunther. Especially Gunther. Is he going to cash in on Cody? Because if he cashes in on Cody, then he's going to be inserted into the Bloodline storyline again. But not as the way that we would want him to go in there. I've always said this when it came to Jey Uso. And it was like, I've said, something doesn't feel right with Jey Uso. Like something just seems to be missing with Jey. I get it. He got the yeet. He got, and it's incredible. I love it. But there's just this one thing that's missing, right? One of the top sellings in merch, has the crowd going. He's over as hell, but he's about to go back into the greatest story in all of wrestling. Rikishi said it himself. 75 years. Now, is it really 75 years? Who knows? But the Adewale family, we all know that tree. We seen it at WrestleMania press conference. Right? We seen it. That's deep. And they keep populating these damn kids. Like, these people love fucking. Because look, they showed how many kids each member of the bloodline have. I think Jacob has like 7. Like, what? It's ridiculous. But I want to dive into what he was talking about when he was mentioning how is the WWE writing team trying to break up his marriage. With the exception of Liv Morgan, everyone that's involved in this storyline with Liv and Rhea, I believe is all married. Finn's married. Rhea just got married like a couple weeks ago. Dom is married. Jey Uso is married. Now, I can understand his level of concern because in the past, we have seen evidence of storylines and then the marriage and then like the relationship, like their personal relationship goes into shambles. You know, I know people don't like bringing his name up, but Chris Benoit and Kevin Sullivan with the lady. We have Matt Hardy and Edge. The more notable one recently was Matt Hardy, Edge, and Lita. We all know about that. So I get where his level of concern is, But if you look at even Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio's relationship on camera, they've never shared a kiss. The closest we got was the kiss on the cheek, the lick of the face. That's it. We've never seen, the only time we've seen a kiss actually take place is Liv kissing Dom. And we didn't see that on national television. We seen that post because they had to switch it off. So this is it's acting. We all know this. We all know that, these people are in relationships and this is what happens. And I don't think that Triple H will put people in positions where they're going to mess up. If the relationship was to fail, it probably was going to fail at some point. Because if Jey Uso does that, then was the relationship even strong from the first place? And Rhea just fucking got married. Let's be real, So Keish, and then he brings up, something about a Lincoln, pulling up in a Lincoln. I think Rikishi really wants to be involved in this storyline. I really, truly think that Rikishi sees how much of an investment this is, and I think Rikishi just wants to insert himself into this story. By hook or crook, he wants to insert himself into this story. That's what I think. I think that he really wants to insert himself in said story. But that's my take for the WWE portion of it. Now let's dive into AEW. All In is August 25th. So far, this is the card that we have for All In. We have the AEW American Championship, formerly known as the International Championship. MJF will be defending it against Will Ospreay. I know people had their questions or had their issues with the 59-minute, 58-second match that they had a couple weeks ago on Dynamite. I'm one of them. I felt like it may have been a little too long. And I'm not a big fan of, and I've said this before, I date back to, when finishers were that. It was just the finisher. I don't know how many times we've seen people kick out of finishers now, but it's like the mystique behind a finisher is no longer there. It just seems like everybody kicks out of their finisher at least once or twice. And it's like, damn, like it just takes away that aura of that finisher. That's the only issue I had, other than the fact that they did go a little longer than expected. We have the AEW TNT title on the line. As I spoke about him earlier, the scapegoat Jack Perry will be going against Darby Allin. That happened because of blood and guts, and we all know what happened. The chair shot her around the world. But then Darby was going to apparently set Jack Perry on fire if Nick Jackson didn't give Darby that match. We have the AEW TBS Championship also on the line with Mercedes Moné, the CEO, going up against Dr. Brent Baker, DMD. I'm very excited that Brent Baker is back because I'm just needing her to just get Mercedes Moné up out of here. A lot of my dislike for Mercedes Moné has grown rapidly over the course of time since she left the WWE. And it's not because she left. It's more so like her thoughts, and even more recently, there was a tweet. I'm not going to get into it, but if you happen to be on Twitter, you probably have seen the tweet exchange between her and a fan. And it's just, it goes to show you how she is. And she's not really a people person. And a lot of people have told me that. I've even said it in the past as well. Arguably the best storyline that they have in the AEW right now is timeless Toni Storm, who will be defending her AEW Women's World Championship against the winner of the Owen Hart Cup, Mariah May, the Glamour Mariah May. Like I said, this is by far the best storyline that AEW has going for them right now. I mean, having Mariah May turn on Toni Storm the way she did, the brutal beatdown that she did on Toni Storm was just priceless. And then for Toni Storm to come back this past Wednesday and pretty much told Mariah May, you're going to have to kill me. Like, you are going to have to unalive me before you take this title. So that's probably going to be the most anticipated match I am looking forward to on AEW's All In. And then we have the AEW World Championship on the line with Swerve defending it against the winner of the men's Owen Hart Cup, Bryan Danielson. I don't really have a vote or a call for this one. I'm just whatever with this match. It is what it is. I feel like we will eventually get Hangman versus Swerve for the title, and I think that's when we get Hangman winning. Or maybe not. I don't know. It's one of those situations. This match, I really don't have any investment. I really don't have any real investment in any match on this card other than the AEW Women's Championship, because that's the only story that I'm really invested in. All the other ones is not really much. It's a potential that we may get the AEW Tag Team titles on the line with the Acclaim, but going against the Young Bucks, that could happen as well. But let's talk about the chair shot. Blood and Guts took place this past Wednesday, and Mark Briscoe hit Jack Perry with a non-protected chair shot to the head. Now, they're saying that the chair was a prop. It was kind of shaved down, so it wouldn't cause that much damage. But according to AEW's conduct, they were banning those chair shots, and yet they went and did that. Kind of interesting. But this is the same team or the same organization that also said that they wanted to try to protect their athletes and their stars, and yet it seems so as if there's at least 2 to 3 times in a month, maybe more than that. And that's me being generous to them. We've seen massive mishaps, and I know, and I've said this before, the way WWE handles their mishaps is different from AEW, because WWE is real quick to move forward with it. I know a lot of people, we talked about it during Money in the Bank, the pin situation. It's pretty much clear that Priest might have suffered a concussion. The way he responded to it recently, he said nothing happened. Like things happened. And I think why him saying things happened was him saying, I got concussed and I didn't respond. But like I said, AEW, they don't know how to really fix it on the fly. And I look at their situation, I look at why they do what they do, and I'm telling myself, like, I've always said they need to do better. But the fan base, the one section of AEW fans that just make it so hard to root for them. Corey Graves, in a now deleted tweet, expressed his thoughts and concerns on this, as he himself has been one who had to end his career early retirement because of concussions. And the fan base for AEW, this particular section of fans, attacked Corey Graves. Attacked him for no reason, because he stated his opinion. And he started the tweet by saying, this is not us against them. This is a general this is a general statement. And they attacked him for it. This is why it's so hard to really cheer and want to see this company succeed, because of the fan base that they created. And Tony Khan happens to be that person. He said he's creating wrestling content for the crazed fans. And that's what he's leading these fans to create, these tribalisms amongst our community. You know, it's just ridiculous. And we have to do better. You know, I will continue to say that. And I get it. And WWE is more for storylines and storytelling and character building and character development. And AEW is the alternative. They're mainly focused on the matches. But as a lot of people will say, you have to have some substance of a story in these matches. And you can't just I'm going to have this person go against this person with no background behind it. No, build something, because that's how you continue to gain that interest and gain your audience and grow your audience, by just having these matches. But since we are talking about the UK and we're talking about Wembley and we're talking about All In, which broke a record, that record may be shattering real soon. And this is how I'm going to end this show. Triple H, Nick Khan, met with the mayor of London. And the mayor of London wants WrestleMania in London, in Wembley Stadium. Let me tell y'all this much right now. If WrestleMania 2 nights is in the UK, in London, in Wembley Stadium, they are going to shatter AEW's record. And the reason they're going to shatter it is because it's not going to be a fabricated number. And what I mean by fabricated is the record that they hold is, you got to kind of look at the numbers. Because yes, they sold that many numbers, but what was the gate numbers? See, that's when you know the gate numbers. You can sell as many tickets, but how many entered that gate? That's when you know. That's the number that you got to pay attention to. And that's what's going to trump All In. I think this year, they're not even close to 80. I think they're like at 50. Still a decent number, but last year you had 80,000. Now you dropped 30,000 to 50. What's going to happen in the year after when you do it again and again? And you're only focusing on Wembley. You're not trying to venture and go to different places. You're trying to just focus in on Wembley. And if Triple H and the WWE break that record, Tony Khan will never be able to live with that. He will lose his mind, especially if it's broken within a matter of 2-3 years. Think about that. That will be nuts. But I think I've been going on for too long. This has been Wrestle Talk with yours truly. I am the franchise. It was great to be back. It was great to do this. I miss doing this. I will be back next week with the recap show for SummerSlam and what we have looking forward to moving forward after SummerSlam with the potential return of the head of the table, the true tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Let me know what your thoughts are, what your predictions are for SummerSlam in the comments below. If you are new to this channel, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And when you do subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell so you are up to date with more content that is dropping. I am the franchise. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, RCW_podcast. That is also the handle for Threads. Make sure you follow the Ace as well, RCW_Ace. And like I said, Saturday will be his birthday, so wish him a happy birthday. I am out till next week. Later.